see that always happens.
It says we're live.
Uh,
We're live.
I'm saying why, but we're not on.
Oh.
Because after it says hour marker, then somebody else will pop right up there for 10 minutes. I raised the line button. And see that thing came up for 10 minutes.
No.
But it was the hour marker. I don't want you to change that. Because I think we got the hour marker, so they lied. They kept up some project for 5 to 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. It's probably gonna be up for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it'll go on. It'll go on. That's why that's live. And I'm gonna get the mics hot. You are with 6.
4.
4. All right, 6. I see the DJ took some out. That Mother Robinson on mic 3.
Okay.
The 4.
This is
1,
1.
3, 1, 3, 4. Okay, good. Mother Robinson. Jackie.
Yes.
I want you to Mother Robinson. She was really before.
This is my first time meeting her. Nice to meet you, Mother Robinson.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay.
I know
your daughter.
I just about to burn it. That is myself.
Yes, I know.
Oh,
I know that's where I work with.
okay.
Okay.
And what I wanted to point out was, so when we go live, with each 10 minutes talk time, you'll see 10 minutes there. When it runs out to like 15, like 10 seconds, to see that for me to have station ID, go up to the break. That'll be 5 times, I'm gonna come back. To my cat, but if it says 10 minutes, we get down to 10 seconds. Just leave me that 3 minutes, station ID. You'll see 10 minutes of the movie you start. So we had 5 10-minute talk times. You know the routine.
Look at your name. Veronica Robinson. Mother Robinson.
You say Mother Robinson?
Just say Veronica. He calls me that all the time. So.
That's what I'm calling.
Mother Robinson. I'm gonna say Your Honor. We have the Honorable
The Honorable.
Mother Veronica Robinson joined us
I'm gonna teach him how to call me Aunt Ron. That's why I prefer all my folks around town.
They call you what?
Aunt Ron,
Aunt Ron.
because
Okay.
of my nephews.
Okay.
today, AKA
Aunt
Ron.
Ron. Okay, I like that too.
Yeah.
Well, you got a new niece, Aunt Ron. You got a new niece today.
Oh, that's good. I adopt them all. It's kind of like what they call you that tells you when they knew you
That's exactly it.
and how well they know you.
They call me Jackie. That means they're from a childhood.
Are you still at this school?
Yes, ma'am. I work right next to her in the classroom right next to
So you
her.
just take off to come over here?
Yes, I get off 30 minutes early so I can come for the broadcast.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes. I'm a paraprofessional.
Oh, that was what she did at there.
Yeah.
Although she had her teachers, it had expired,
Mhm.
but she stayed out. So
Yeah.
that's how she went to work there for the first though.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm a para. That's what I'm starting out doing. So
Are you thinking about going over on credentials?
I am definitely.
One of my friends got upset with me years ago. She was a teacher's assistant, and she got a new teacher. And she said, "I know more what to do than the teacher does."
Mhm.
And I didn't mean it, and it probably came out wrong. I said, "Go back and get your degree then." And it hit her wrong, but it motivated her to go back there. I was like, "I'll look at the masters."
Mhm. Yeah, so
She got mad.
I'm looking to
She
do
got
it.
mad.
But I've been doing it for over 20 years. Because I own my daycare. So now I just was switch over to the school system. So I need to get my credentials. I need to go back. So I'm looking at this program now. I need to get in to get started. I have an associate's degree. I don't have a bachelor's.
Okay.
So I'm trying to see. I might have to start from ground zero.
No, not easy.
Okay.
You got your credits, or they out of state or in state?
Out of state.
I don't know about that, but I know in state. it would accept everyone up. Because
All right,
Councilwoman,
Jack, lay down marker.
Ready?
Yeah.
yeah.
Motivations with Glenn.
I need some. Some water.
Good day, everyone. This is Awesome Radio 106.9 FM WBIS LP, Winterville, Aden, Grifton, Southside, North Carolina. You are tuned into the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn, and Jacqueline Collins Williams, my co-host. Today, we have the honorable Councilwoman from Winterville, Mother Veronica Robinson, joining us. She's a mother of Mount Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church in Winterville, as well as a distinguished councilwoman from Winterville. She's joining us in the studio today to talk about her life and experience, Black history issues, and her role as a mother of a Baptist church. Ms. Jackie.
Hey, Dr. Glenn. Hey, Dr. Glenn and listening audience. It's an awesome day today. It's good to be here today. It's good to be here with our guest today. We are so excited to have Mother Robinson, and she told us we can call her Auntie Ronnie. And so I'm glad to have a new auntie today. So we're glad to be here today and talking with the Honorable Councilwoman Veronica Robinson. And so it is a great day. We're going to have a great show today. She's going to enlighten us. We know a lot about church mothers and things. And so we're going to talk a little bit about being a church mother and also her role as a councilwoman and also just the balance between the two. So we know we're going to get some wisdom on today.
Absolutely.
And some awesome nuggets on today, some inspiration and some motivation on today.
And speaking of Black history, this is our beginning topic of our continuing broadcast on Black history, starting with the Honorable Veronica Robinson. But what is Black history and what is American history? Is it all into one and one? Do we celebrate African American history as Black history, or do we celebrate American history as all inclusive? Well, Black history is everybody's history. We celebrate Black history. It's a celebration for everyone, no matter if you're Black, African American, Caucasian, Latino, Chinese American, whatever American you're associated with. African American, Black history is history for everyone. Knowing the past open doors to the future, the continuing importance of Black History Month. That's Black History Month in a nutshell. I'm gonna have Miss the Honorable Mother Robinson just discuss it for the next 7 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Robinson. I'm a native of Winterville, North Carolina. I've always lived in Winterville. I was born there in 1952. And of course, now, 70 years later, I'm still here. The community I grew up in was a very segregated community. Basically, the railroad tracks kind of separated us. I went to an all-black school from 1958 to 1970. In 1970, Pitt County integrated schools, and W.H. Robinson now became W.H. Robinson Elementary, where it had been W.H. Robinson Union School prior to that. So I'm shaped by my experiences in my childhood. The church, family were of the utmost importance to all of us during this time. In 1970, I enrolled in East Carolina University, and 4 years later, with the help of God, I graduated with a BS degree in education. I left, went to Washington County for 3 years, taught at Washington County Union School. Then I returned to Pitt County, and I spent the next 28 years at a middle school. Brother Glenn mentioned that I'm a mother at my church, Mount Shallow, where I've been a member all of my life. I have 2 daughters, Consuelo and Ella, 2 granddaughters, Olivia and Jada, and they all reside around in Winterville. And my big church family and a group of nephews, a wonderful social club. They're all my nephews, and we enjoy each other. They put many activities, public service activities for the community. And I just enjoy that work. I enjoy the work, and I enjoy the work that those around me do. We are blessed in our community to have Brother Johnson and to have him as a part of our community and being willing to be in profession that is public service, because getting the word out is public service. I remember when I was in school, we used to have Black History Week at school. And during that time, we would highlight the contributions of African Americans to the American way of life. And of course, to our life, of course, we're Americans too. I remember that we had to learn all 3 verses of Lift Every Voice and Sing by 3rd grade. And that's not an even easy task. But each time we had a program, we sang that song. And I just remember so much pride during that week, and pretty much what we do all the time, which is highlight the inventions, the breakthroughs, the leaders of our race throughout the years. We didn't talk a lot about slavery, and we weren't taught a lot about slavery in our schools. But in the communities, it was taught by the adults. They knew what the trials and tribulations of slavery were. They taught it to us. They told us about it. And they encouraged us that we were to do better. Each generation should do better. And that's what we were inspired to do and what we tried to do. We didn't dwell on past hurts. We knew about Jim Crow. I know about the white water fountains and the white bathrooms and the black bathrooms. I know about that. I know about books that had other folks' names in them for about 4 or 5 years, and this was a new book to me. I know about that. I know about overcoming those obstacles. Those around me, so many young people that I know now that are seniors like I am. We had to overcome these obstacles to do better. And the fact that our parents inspired us. Well, I won't say inspired us. The expression, they drugged me to church. We were expected. There was no other choice to do well in school and to attend church and do well in our community and to stay out of trouble. So those are my experiences, my memories.
And Mother Robinson, if you don't mind me asking, if we just go back for a second to W.H. Robinson School. It was W.H. Robinson School. Prior to that was Union. Was it Union Elementary?
Union School meant that it was elementary, middle, and high school in one facility.
Okay, and just pardon me for a second. We have a caller coming in. Caller, you're live on the air on the Glenn Johnston Show. Motivation with Glenn. Do you have a comment or question, sir? Ma'am? Anyone there? Okay, maybe they give a call back. So we didn't get that call connected from the caller. If the caller would be so kind to call back momentarily, we will make sure that you're live on air with your comment or question. So I want to ask a question of Mother Robinson. W.H. Robinson School, high school, this is W.H. Robinson Elementary School now.
Elementary school now.
And prior to that was Union School.
Yes.
Prior to that was it Winterville Colored School.
I believe that was the term that was used for it back then. It was named after a principal, Mr. Robinson. And I remember hearing people talk about how he walked from out by Zion Hill all the way to Winterville to be principal of that school that he walked there. And there's the house that they say he lived in still exists in Winterville, in the Newtown section of Winterville.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to hold off on doing my other question. Give Jackie 1 minute before we go to the first break.
Oh, yes. Mother Robinson, I was just wanting to talk to you or ask you about remembering God's faithfulness in the past, because one of the things that we talked about is that you are a church mother. And so will you tell us about how God has been faithful to you from all the time of segregation up? And I have probably a few more questions later that I'll ask you about that era in your life.
Okay. I'd say God's faithfulness. The one thing that I think everybody needs to know, when I graduated from W.H. Robinson in 1970, I had no money to go to college with. And the Lord blessed me to receive every kind of financial aid there is to attend a 4-year school at East Carolina.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go out to our first break. Keep it locked right here to Awesome Radio 106.9 FM. We'll be back in a moment. I have some additional comments, questions for Mother Robinson.
My name is Jayla, and you're the seed to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
I know you want to face Mother Robinson. But when you do that, you're going to hear it clear.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got to I was looking at you and I needed to keep my mouth. I was looking at you and I needed to keep my mouth in the microphone.
Yeah.
That was so cute.
These mics are supposed to work multi-directional, but for some reason they don't. It don't matter if you got your head to the right, left, up, down. It's still supposed to be crystal clear. For some reason, it's not working that way.
Okay.
You have to stay facing the mic.
Okay.
But it should be optimal, multi-directional,
Okay.
or omnidirectional.
Thank you for listening to 106.9 WBIS LP Awesome Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Awesome Radio 106.9 FM WBIS LP, Winterville, Ayden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina. Christian inspiration for the family and ministry teaching for practical Christian living. Jackie.
Yes, we're going to go back because I know Mother Robinson was telling us about how God was faithful to her in the past. And she was telling us about how she was able to go to the 4-year college and she was how the Lord blessed her with favor concerning that. Would you continue on and tell us, Mother Robinson, about that? Because I know there's a lot of people that want to do things and they're afraid to step out because they don't know how they're going to make it or how it can happen. And I think your testimony is very powerful in letting people know that if there's a will, then God will make a way for them.
Yes,
Absolutely.
most definitely. And besides that, there's been so many ways and so many days that God has blessed me. And most of all is that I am 70 years old. I can live by myself. I can drive a car. I can take care of my daily needs and take care of my financial needs. And that's a blessing. My classmates, I talk to them all the time and some others around in my community. I said, we're the first generation of African Americans in the South that could retire. Our parents worked their whole lives. And even when they got to the age of not working, they didn't have money to pay their bills. They didn't have sufficient money. But we got money. We can pay our bills. Might take everything you got sometimes, but we've been able to do that. And that's a blessing. And that's God's faithfulness. He gave me let me work over 30, close probably to 40 years because I did substitute. He did that. He takes care of me every day. And I just worship him and I just give him all the praise and all the honor, even for the opportunity to be here with you this afternoon. That's a blessing because it could have been the other way.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And I just want to say to you and all people of your generation that I know you endured a lot, you saw a lot, you've been through a lot, but thanks to you all, we are here, we survived because of what you did, what you sacrificed. So I just want to commend you for all the things that you have endured in your life thus far. Very commendable. And you mentioned about, you remember white water fountains, black water fountains, or colored water fountains, and the same thing as far as bathrooms, restaurants, and stuff like that. Well, I grew up probably a generation or two after you, but I kind of still remember some remnants of that because I remember I had to go to a doctor every Monday, and we had to take public transportation. This was prior to my mother getting no car. When we get on the bus, I would try to sit down in the front seat, and she would grab me so hastily. Boy, if you don't get up and get to that back of that bus. I'm like, why? Because, of course, I'm a child. I had a lot of questions. Well, why we have to sit in the back? Boy, she grabbed my arm, just sling it up. Boy, come on here, dragging me to the back of the bus. So I do remember that. I remember also being in a particular restaurant, and we got this strange look. This was back in the probably the early 60s. Jackie.
Yes, and I definitely had a question for Mother Robinson concerning that, just a little bit more into that, because of being back in the time of segregation. I wanted to ask her, were there any significant events that she can remember, and how did you overcome this period of time? We know that everything is different now without being scarred. Is there anything, there's some people that were just very much so damaged by what they went through back then, but how did you overcome that without being scarred? And tell us a significant event that may have happened that caused you to stand up or to know that this segregation was wrong.
My father was a great proponent. He only went to second grade, but he meant for his children to have a better life than he did. So every evening at 6 o'clock, he sat us in front of the TV and we watched television. And I know I'm going all around to explain this, but what was on television was Martin Luther King marching. Was those people getting attacked with the water and the dogs. That's something that's set in my head that I will never, ever forget seeing on television. It's like the civil rights movement was fueled by television. Just as today, when we see things like the young man that was killed last week,
Right.
When a picture does not lie, the videotape let not only us see it, but the whole world. When his mother got up there with tears in her eyes and told people, you can protest, but protest non-violently, it was seen around the world. These things like this that are seen on television, they put that picture, our image in our minds, and our children visit it also. One thing, when you go to church, you're taught to love. And your parents teach you to love in spite of. And those experiences, yes, they were devastating. They were hard on my memory. It was hard for you to go to a restaurant. You got to go to the back door, and you spending the same money as the person in the front door. But we as a people, African Americans, we are taught to love and forgive. We cannot. We realize that if you got hate in your heart, you don't have room for love. And that's what we do. The people in Charleston, when the guy came into church and shouted up, they did the same thing.
Yeah.
They could have hated, but they changed that into love.
Yeah. And Mother Robinson, do you recall anything about the Greenville sit-in or Greenville 5? Was that Greensboro 5 or Greensboro sit-in?
Well, it's very significant to those of us in Winterville because a wonderful resident, young man up there pursuing higher education, Mr. Willie Grimes, was killed during those Greensboro riots at A&T school. His sister is mother of our church, Mother Short.
Oh, I
It's
didn't know
his
that.
sister.
And wow.
And her brother was killed during those riots. So when I think about Greensboro and the riots, that's what I automatically think of. I was young at that time. I was probably a freshman in high school when it happened, but I remember that vividly.
Yeah, and to our listening audience, I just wanted to ask that question because it was just on the tip of my mind. But throughout the upcoming weeks, we'll have more on the Greensboro. Greensboro, I forget the actual name, but the Greensboro riots, the Greensboro, what was going on in Greensboro at the time of the Civil Rights Movement, and as well as some other material for you. So that'll be in the next couple of weeks. So this is just the beginning of Black History Month. Today is the first day of Black History Month. With 2 minutes remaining for this particular segment, I'm going to get over to my co-host, Ms. Jacqueline Coles-Williams.
Yes, Mother Robinson, you've taken us through the path, and we've really enjoyed hearing the things that you have said to us today that have caused us to become more aware of the past. And so in this next segment, we're going to come up to the present and talk about what's going on now with the councilwoman, the Honorable Councilwoman, Veronica Robinson, and look at some things and tell us some things, enlighten us on some things concerning being a church mother and a councilwoman at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I have a few questions that I'll ask you at that time, and I'll start out with one. How do you balance being a councilwoman and your spiritual life?
Well, I balance it by praying. That's my balance. That keeps me in check. I pray not only for God to bless our city, our churches, and our community, but I pray for divine leadership, guidance in my life, and in the things that I do, and in the things that those around me do. That we can work together to build our community, to make it the best it can be by God's guidance. He always knows what is right for us to do. His will is most important.
Absolutely. I do recall some comments that you made, giving an interview to the Daily Reflector. I'm not going to get into all of it, but certainly like what you have just mentioned, almost like some of the words that resonated in that interview. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivation with Glenn and Jacqueline Coles-Williams. 106.9 FM, WBIS LP. Break off the knob. Keep it locked right there. We'll be back after this brief sponsorship break with our honored guest, Honorable Mother Veronica Robinson. Back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for listening to 106.9 WBIS LP Awesome Radio. I want to
Mother Robinson. So now we only wanted down to 3 more 10 minutes. We just wanted down to 3 more 10 minutes. 30 minutes altogether. So we can move right on good. So we'll get to the news there.
Okay.
We're back. You're listening to the Glenn Johnson Show. You can reach Glenn at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Jacqueline Coles-Williams. We have our honored guest in the station today, the Honorable Mother Veronica Robinson, Councilwoman for the town of Winterville and mother of Mount Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church in Winterville. I'm going to give it right back up to my co-host, Ms. Jacqueline Coles-Williams.
All right, the Honorable Councilwoman Veronica and Mother Robinson. We are so glad to have you again today. I wanted to just talk to you today and ask you a few questions on a couple of current events in your life and talking about being a church mother. What does it mean to be a church mother? And it said that in our paperwork here that church mothers were spiritual mothers.
Yes.
Tell us about being a church mother on today. We know that things have changed over time from where they were back in the past, and now things are different in the church. But what about the role of the church mother? Has it changed for you over the years?
I think it has changed somewhat during the year, but basic things in Christianity do not change. We still should be the role model for the young women. We should stand in the gap for them. We also, stand in the gap at our church. We're church leadership, because
Yeah,
those women.
I'm sorry, Mother Robinson. We do have a caller calling in. Caller, you're live on the air on the Glenn Johnson Show. Do you have a comment or question? Caller. Okay, perhaps we have some kind of audio situation going on. So I'm not sure why that is. Caller, are you there? Caller. All right, well, we'll ask that caller will call back, and maybe we can get the connection figured out. Caller, if you can listen or hear me, just give us a call back when you get a moment. I'm going to let Mother Robinson finish with her comment at this time.
Of course, there's a spiritual side of all of us who are involved with Christianity, but the mother was, as far as leadership now, I think that we as mothers of the church, this generation, we help with the leadership. We help with the decision making a lot more than the mothers in the past probably did. But they had that role of being the leading the young women in the right way to do and the right way to be.
So when I was asking about you, which a little birdie told me that you were very, and I could see that in your personality, that you were very calm, cool, and collective. And this is one of the things that I've admired about mothers. Talk to us about being sober-minded, because that's what it says in Titus 2, 3 and 5. And it said not given to much wine. That mothers were not given to much wine. That's the example that the mothers are to teach the younger women. And so talk to us about staying level-headed, because I think that's one of the things I admire the most about mothers. I've always admired them in the church and the older women. And as a matter of fact, Dr. Glenn, when I was in my 30s, I asked to get on the mother's board, but they wouldn't let me on because they said I was too young. And so, because I admired them, they were always so classy, and there's just such a dignity that even I can see on you, Mother Robinson, that comes, with age, and a temperance that comes. And so talk to us about being sober-minded.
Well, that has a lot to do with the aging and the experiences that we've been through. We've seen times when the Lord has blessed others. We experienced it ourselves, and that gives us a level somewhat. You don't fly off at what you used to fly off at. I once was young. Well, we were young too. And we understand the pressures that are put on young women like you. And we can help you with that because we've been through it so much. We've experienced so much, and we've seen others experience. And then, of course, our faith and our lives are grounded in the Word of God. And we know that He says He would never leave us nor forsake us. And those kinds of things are the things that I find that I feel that these things are within me, and I hope that I show them to the younger women at church.
And I think along with what you just projected was not only is Mother Robinson one of those individuals that young women are particularly influenced by, but I think also some of the young men at church. Take myself, for example. All my life I've been in a Baptist church because my grandfather was a minister. And so my mom and my aunt, and they had quite an influence on us, as well as some of the mothers at the church, deacons, deaconess, same thing as applies to my shadow that I see. So I think that not only does she have influence on some of the young ladies, but also some of the young men. including myself.
I have a group of guys in Winterville that I think the world of. They're young men, well, they're young men to me. Anyway, the Wonderful Social Club. And these young men, I'm so thankful because they want to do something positive in the Wonderful community and in the communities around you. They have coat drives. They have that every year when we have our dinner, our community dinner in November. They're out in the front of our campus of our church, and they have boxes of food that they put in people's cars as they go through. They help us with anything that we need. If we need some men, the strength of a man to do something, they're right there to help us. And I think the world of them. I admire them, and I tell all of them when I introduce them to people that come on the campus of our church when they're there. I said, "These are all my nephews."
Good. And that brings me to a question. I don't want to get off the subject, but we have 3 minutes to go. And go back to W.H. Robinson School. Adjacent to the school is a building that still stands that has an emblem or logo of a Mason, of a Masonic temple. Was that once a Masonic temple, or is it still is a Masonic temple?
It's still a Masonic temple. The one of the Masons still own that building, and it does have a lot of history behind it. I don't know when it was built, but I know it's been there a long time. My grandfather was a Mason, and he was born in the late 1800s. He was very proud Mason. It's a proud heritage behind those men who were there. I remember St. John days in our community. The Masons would parade around town proudly. And I remember being so proud of that. That's part of our heritage.
It is. And we probably don't have time to get to it today. But after the broadcast, and sometime during the next couple of weeks, I want to confer with you on more information about that Masonic temple for various reasons. Jackie.
Yes. Honorable Councilwoman Veronica Robinson, Mother Robinson, will you bring us up to date and tell us about being a councilwoman? I heard you say that you were 70s or in your 70s, and that is an awesome thing. I just want you to encourage somebody that it's never too late. You know, somebody might say, leave that for the young people. But here you are in your 70s, and you're here, and you're a councilwoman representing, you know, government and representing Black women and being an example for all of us. Tell us about being a councilwoman.
Well, first, I want to say I'm the first, in 1981, I think it was, I filed for office in Winterville. I was the first woman to ever file for office. I lost the race, but I did run for the town council. I just figured that was not my time. Later on, Ms. Velma Harper was appointed to complete the term of a councilman who died. And she became the first elected woman, not only Black woman, but Black woman to serve on our town council. It has been an interesting time that I've been serving. I've experienced a lot of changes around our community. We have a lot of challenges too. This year, I've been faced with at least one decision that I most definitely did not want to do. None of us wanted to do it. And right now, we're getting lots of calls about raising the rates on our utility bills.
Yeah.
But like all the communities around us, we were faced with either raising the rates or running out of money. And we chose to raise the rates on our utility bills, but people aren't happy about it. But sometimes it's just like a parent. Sometimes you have to make decisions that are best for the children.
You have to do what you have to do. I have a question for you, but I'll hold it over until we come back from the break. Ladies and gentlemen, keep it locked right here. The 106.9 FM, WBASLP. Back in a moment.
Keep it locked right here to the Glenn Johnson Show.
Just have 20 minutes remaining.
Okay. Ask me about the achievements, the things I've seen the council achieve since I've been
Ma'am?
on. Achievements.
Achievements as a councilwoman
Achievements for the board. I don't,
for the council board.
for the council. Oh, yeah.
All righty.
I got you. Just get. I like to share those.
Hi, this is Stephanie with Physicians East for Dr. Armistead, Dermatology. You are listening to Awesome Radio 106.9.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back to Awesome Radio 106.9 FM. I had to turn my headphones back up so I could hear. I could hear myself for a second. But my question before I give it back over to you, Jackie, to Mother Robinson, the Honorable Councilwoman Veronica Robinson. When you came on board as a councilwoman, was that the beginning of the change from elder person or alderman or elder lady to councilwoman or councilman?
Yes. Councilman Tony Moore made the motion, brought that up, that we need to change it because so many of our young children were not understanding that we were the same as a council person, but that word would make us more in line with what the cities and towns around us. I think New Bern still has all the men and all the women, but Winterville decided to change just as a matter of fact of clarifying our duties in town to the citizens.
And now in Winterville, are you considered a councilman, councilwoman, or council person?
I prefer councilwoman.
Thank you. Because you are a woman and you are a council.
Yes.
So yeah, that's more respectable, I think.
Well, girl power.
Yeah. So we're gonna get back over to Ms. Jacqueline Combs Williams and our question to the Honorable Councilwoman.
Yes, Mother Robinson. I had two questions, and I wanted to ask first because you talked about the raising of the rates of the utilities. Is there any help for people or resources for people to help them with their utility bills?
Of course, social services has their LEAP program, low income energy program that they take applications for each year. But in Winterville, one of our suppliers has made us able to offer our citizens $85 once a year to help with their utility bills. And of course, we've got churches in our community. Our religious community has been able to help people who couldn't pay their bills also. So we do have some resources. And if the program that we have that gives $85 is being administered by Green Lab, and the application actually has a sheet in the back that tells about other resources if they need more help than that or if they need help again during the year. So we do try to make the information available to the citizens. And there's a big banner as soon as you walk in town hall that, of course, lists some of the resources also.
Yes, that is awesome. $85 to help with your bill. Sometimes you just need that one time where that amount of money could help. So if you need more information on that, you can contact Dr. Glenn or a councilwoman, and they will give you more information. I just think that's awesome. Sometimes people need a little help. I wanted to ask Mother Robinson about her achievements as a councilwoman. Will you talk to us about your achievements?
Well, these are some of the things I won't say I did, but our board has done since I've been up there. One thing that I'm really proud of is the resurfacing and redesign of Boyd Street. That street had not been maintained by the Department of Transportation so long that when I did inquire about records, there were none. So I figured, well, this means that it was done, the last time they did some maintenance on the street had to be before computers, but it has been completed. It is a nice thoroughfare, nice entranceway into our town. We've been able to maintain a fund to help our citizens, especially our seniors, with home repairs, the urgent repair home program that we've been able to do urgent repair for homes of our low-income seniors. We've adopted a set of boards and procedures since I've been on the board. When I came on the board, you had to sign up for public comment 2 weeks ahead or a week ahead. But now you can sign up the night of. Lately, we've established a human relations board, and it's functioning well. We're still in the early stages of it, but we do have a human relations board that is working in Winterfield. We have maintained the lowest tax rate in Winterfield. I talked about utility rates going up, but your taxes didn't go up. I don't know what we'll have to do this year, but I do know that in the past, we have been able to keep that. We've had many things as far as economic growth. We've got things on the board. We've got Lowe's Foods coming. We've got apartments being built. We've got houses being built all along. I work with the Mideast Commission. I work with some of the lower counties in our area. And we are truly blessed here in Pitt County. We're truly blessed in Winterfield to have the growth that we have.
And Mother Robinson, if I'm not mistaken, if I can just go back to Boyd Street, including Middle Street for a second, if I'm not mistaken, there's some prominent or affluent African Americans that have streets named after them in the town of Winterville. Is that Middle Street and Boyd Street included?
Yes, I think our municipality probably has more streets named after families than any other community around, especially African American families. Grimes Street, Worthington Street, of course, Boyd Knox Street. You know, we have all those things there. We have Carmen Street. That's where our park is, you know. May Drive, Tyson Street, you know, and everything. All these streets are named after influential African Americans in our communities.
And before I get back to Jackie, one other thing I was trying to ascertain was, across from the fire station, there was a house erected that has since been demolished. But according to the information I received, there was an African-American woman that resided at that residence, and she would actually receive a telephone call when there was a fire emergency. And she would run across the street to the fire station, pull the alarm for the signal to be sounded for the firefighters to arrive at the fire station, and then she would advise them as to where the fire was located.
Nowhere.
Do you have any information on that?
I don't remember that. I remember about Miss Queenie Jackson, who had a telephone. I remember that, but I never heard that story before. So
Maybe that's a part of it. We'll have to get together and confer on that.
yes.
What else I was going to ask? Is there any plans on resurfacing Main Street? Lord Jesus.
Main Street is also State Street.
It's also State Street,
State Street.
just like Mill Street.
Just like Mill Street. Boyd Street was the State Street. We got that fixed, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are plans to do that. But of course, that widening of Tar Road, that project is going to take precedent probably of most of the things, and they'll come back and catch those things up as they proceed with the widening of Tar Road.
Yeah, Old Tar Road is just scheduled to be widened, going into, if I'm not mistaken, into 2024 at an astronomical amount of money, as you can believe.
Yes.
But it's from one end of Old Tar Road to the very opposite end of Old Tar Road. So that is a major project. So I do see the realization, and some of the other things having to wait until that gets completed. We have 1 minute before we go to the break. Jackie.
Yes, I was going to ask Honorable Councilwoman Mother Robinson, how does one become or get more involved in the events and the workings of the council? How is it that we let our voice be heard?
Well, of course, we have our public comment period during our regular meetings. Of course, we have our boards and commissions, and you join them by going to our website and pulling down the thing that says boards and commissions, opening it up, filling out an application, and returning it to town. That would be one way to really get involved with everything, is to get on a board or commission, because you learn a lot serving. Those are the two major ways that I can see. Of course, now the public access TV will be broadcasting our meetings.
Oh, they will. That's
That meeting,
wonderful.
I was on last week and I saw our meeting up there. I was really proud.
That is wonderful because I'm always at the town council meeting.
Yes.
I'm always giving us comment on public comment section.
Well, instead of just being on YouTube, they'll be on channel, what is it, 23?
23, yeah.
23.
That is
Awesome.
wonderful.
Awesome.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have about 20 seconds before we go to the next break. Then we'll be back with our final 10 minutes. We're going to continue with our topic of discussion with the Honorable Councilwoman Veronica Robinson from the town of Winterville. Her role as a councilwoman and mother of church. Keep it locked right here at 106.9 FM. Back in a moment.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes.
And then I turned it on. It was this week. I turned it on and there was our meeting. I told her, I said, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll be seeing more YouTube. I'll go back.
Somehow she could link it together. And I was just so proud. Because people always ask, why aren't your meetings on TV?
Yeah.
Like Greenville and here. And so I was just really excited.
Oh, that's good. I gotta go look when I go home. That's good. Because I do go to YouTube, look at some of the previous town council meetings. But now I know I can go to the public access and get it.
And see, we had a mistake that happened during our meeting last time. And we could go, I went back on YouTube and looked at it and I saw it. And can't nobody say it didn't happen. And went at it because the video shows it.
My name is Jayla, and you're the seat to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Awesome Radio. This is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivation with Glenn and Jacqueline Collins Williams. This is 106.9 FM, WBISLP, Awesome Radio, Winterville, Ayden, Clifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina. We're continuing our topic of discussion with our final 10 minutes with the Honorable Councilwoman and mother of Mount Shepard Missionary Baptist Church, all right here in Winterville. That is the Honorable Councilwoman Veronica Robinson. And here's my co-host, Ms. Jacqueline Collins Williams.
Yeah, so Mother Robinson, Honorable Councilwoman Veronica Robinson, and Mother Robinson.
We'll give me a second. We're gonna try this caller again.
Okay.
Caller, you're live on the air on the Glenn Johnson Show. Caller, you have a comment or question? We seem to have some difficulty.
Well,
Oh, you go ahead.
Hi, Veronica.
Yeah.
Dr. Glenn and Jacqueline. How are you?
We're very good today. Thank you.
My name is Natty Nelson. My name is Nat Nelson DeJesus. I'm a close friend of Veronica. She is so smart. She is a good problem solver.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Now my voice is aching. Okay, look, now what I want to say is that she's talking about this Black history. I am part of Black history, Winterville history. I just became the first Afro-American to serve on the Winterville Historical Society Executive Board.
Oh, you know what? I now know who you are. We briefly spoke at in the parking lot of Food Line, and you did inform me of that. So I'm so glad you called in. I anticipated your call, so I do now know who you are. You want to go ahead with your comment or question?
Yes, and also, Veronica has a nice program that's going on for February the 12th. It will be at the Historical Society. It's about book writers, book authors. It is going to be very interesting. She has invited a lot of book authors, very important ones. I'm pretty sure you would like to come to hear all of this good information that they will be giving out. It will be at Winterville Historical and Art Society at 2543 Church Street in Winterville. And we're looking forward to see all of you all to come.
And you know,
Glenn, I know you want to be there.
you know I'm going to be there. I'll probably be the first one there, which I leave the door open. If the door opens at 6, I'll be at 5:30. Because there's one thing about time. Either there's no such thing as being there's no such thing as being early. Either you're on time or you're late.
That is right.
So I'll be there with my hand on the doorknob when they put the key in there.
Yes.
The program is February 12th from 3 to 5. And Matt did not say, but she and I, we're working together on this program. She has recruited some authors, and I've recruited some authors, and we have African American authors mainly, and we're going to be talking about their works, their pieces of work, and what motivated them. Let them tell you about that. And we have several authors, Danny Smith, Faith Howard Jones, Dr. Stephen Bond, Calvin Daniels, and we have a lady, Wanda Daniels, who's going to come and talk about her father. Her father wrote 2 books, but he's deceased, and she has agreed to come. So I hope of course, Professor Henry Suggs may be calling in. So we've got all that lined up for that Sunday.
All right, yeah, we'll get together and confer with that information.
Calvin Daniels.
Okay.
Yeah,
Calvin Daniels also.
We'll have to get together and talk about that. Because to invite any of them to the show, they would have to have, I'll go through the details with you at a later time. Because we only have like 4 minutes for the remaining broadcast. So I'm getting back over to Ms. Jacqueline Collins Williams and the Honorable Councilwoman.
I have one more question. We went to the past, we came to the present. What does the future hold for Councilwoman Robinson? Will you let us know? Are you going to run for mayor again? What does the future hold?
I'm going to pray about that too. Not an excuse, but I seek God's guidance on that. No matter what, I will be serving the citizens of Glenville. Whether it's in not elected office, I'll still be doing what the Lord leads me to do, which is be a community worker and the public service, to serve my neighbors and my friends to the best of my abilities.
And Jackie, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask one question of the Councilwoman. So, if I'm not mistaken, you retired as a educator.
Yes.
How much time was you an educator?
Well, I was full-time, 32.8 years.
Wow.
And I subbed, I know, about 5 to 6 years after that.
I can imagine dealing with all those students for 32 plus years.
Yes. And middle school at that.
At middle school at that, are you kidding me?
Yes.
I'm glad you stayed sober.
Because now they bring the school, steal the school, all that kind of stuff. Only steal we took to school was a $6 million man lunchbox.
I tell you,
But
times have changed. We have to pray for our schools,
Yeah.
and also participate as best we can.
Because of people like you, this is why I enjoy inviting you to my show all the time, because you talk about your experience.
Yes.
You have a lot of knowledge and tools and skills under your belt, if you will. Just all around about you, like what Jackie spoke of earlier. You are a great influence to our younger women and men. Jackie.
Yes, I do believe when you talked about the broadcast being on channel 23, was there a time? And also the website to get on the board for the board or commission.
When you go to Glenville, our page, it has those drop down menus, and it has the boards and commissions, and it has the form right there so you can fill it out, and you can I guess you can send it, email it back in, or you can take it back in. I'm old fashioned. I walk everything back in, so that's the way it is there.
And that Winterville website is wintervillenc.com, because Winterville is the only government entity that doesn't use a .gov. It's a .com. So you go to wintervillenc.com. Then you'll see all the drop-down menus for the various things that you need to connect with. Or simply, you can email me and I will help you get through it. My email address is Glenn, Glenn, Johnson Show @gmail.com. And as Jackie pointed out earlier, I will help you get through some of these documents, help you browse the site, and coach you along the way to make sure that you have the appropriate tools that you need. Jackie.
Yes, also I have, is there any particular time when we may be able to come by the church and hear you speak? Or is there a time, is there Mother's Day, Mother's Board Day? How can we get the chance to get and be poured into by your wisdom?
Well, when you come to Mount Shiloh, you're going to get poured into by the wisdom and the words from God from our pastor, Reverend C.E. Cunningham, because he's there and he has a word from the Lord for all of us to help us live better. I don't put myself forward as a public speaker. I'm just a servant. I serve, but I think my calling is more into more church administration and things like that, more than the actual speaking. But I do whatever I have the opportunity to do to advance the kingdom.
And I'll be giving a speech on Sunday at Monticello Baptist Church. And the pastor has already admonished me that I have 10 to 15 minutes, no more, no less. So I've already been admonished. About 15 seconds ago, Jackie.
What time is that service, Dr. Glenn?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. on Sunday. We look forward to seeing you. I might pop in there. Y'all might see me on Sunday.
Please do.
I'm speaking at St. Matthew this Sunday at 11 for their Black History Month.
Thank you, everybody.
Calling all gramps, grandmas, nanas, papas, or what. Grandkids call you. Here's Ken Canfield for Grandkids Matter. Yesterday I talked about teamwork between